Assalamu alaikum. It's me Saqib Rauf, and today I'm going to discuss two important stages in sound production, that is the oronasal process and articulation. Before I proceed, let me tell you that the primary addressee of this video are my students of BS English Semester 4 studying at GPGC Mandia Abbottabad. However, it is equally beneficial for the students studying at the other public sector colleges in the province of KP. The third stage in sound production is known as the oronasal process. It involves the airflow in the upper vocal tract and the configuration of the cavities through which it passes after leaving the larynx. Now, two things need to be understood here. What do we mean by configuration of cavities, and what role does pharynx play in this process? Configuration means an arrangement of parts or elements in a particular form, figure, or combination. So, configuration of cavities means particular structure of vocal tract. It is that particular structure or arrangement of cavities through which airflow passes. The pharynx, on the other hand, has been described as a tube of muscle shaped like an inverted cone. It lies between the larynx and the base of the skull and serves as a crossroads between the upper and lower respiratory system, including larynx. Pharynx plays an important role in oronasal process. It functions as an air passage during breathing and branches off into two cavities that act as resonators for the upward airflow, the oral cavity and the nasal cavity. The soft palate or VELUM also plays a significant role in the pharynx because it is the organ that directs the airflow into either of two cavities, the oral cavity or nasal cavity. If the soft palate is raised, it blocks the entrance to the nasal cavity, due to which air is directed to the oral cavity or mouth, and as a result, oral sounds are produced. If the soft palate is lowered, the airflow is directed through both cavities, going through the nostrils and mouth at the same time. During this pattern of airflow, the sounds produced are termed as nasal sounds. Nasal sounds are relatively quiet as compared to oral sounds. The fourth stage in sound production is known as articulation. After the initiation and phonation processes in the larynx and pharynx, the audible sound is converted into a concrete sound with the help of certain organs of speech, also known as articulators. These articulators are situated in the oral cavity and play their role in converting the audible sound into concrete sound. The most important, you can see these articulators in figure number 6 in the slide. The most important and flexible of all the organs of speech or articulators is the tongue, located in the oral cavity. The tongue makes the most important and the greatest contribution to the articulation process. It is capable of assuming a great many varieties of positions of articulation for both vowels and consonants. The upper surface of the tongue is called dorsum. The dorsum comes into contact with other organs of speech. For the purpose of phonetic description, dorsum is subdivided into several parts since there are no clear boundaries on the tongue itself. This division is arbitrary. The basic subdivision of the dorsum are the tip, the blade, the front, the back, and the root, as you can see in figure number 7. The tongue comes into contact with several other articulators which are either flexible and mobile or stable and immobile. The palate is another important articulator. It's the smooth curved surface in the upper part of the mouth and consists of two parts, the hard palate and the soft palate or velum with its pendant uvula. The hard palate is a stable or immobile articulator and is necessary for the production of many consonants when in contact with the tongue, while the soft palate is flexible and takes part in the oronasal process of sound production. The uvula of the soft palate is a fleshy lobe at the back of the soft palate and is responsible for the opening and closing of the entrance to the nasal cavity. The lips, both upper and lower, are also important articulators that make a contribution in the production of sounds. They are mobile and can be shut or held apart to give a shape to the oral cavity. Another articulator is the upper teeth and the alveolar ridge located behind the upper teeth. These are stable and immobile articulators, while the lower teeth and lower jaw are mobile. Thus, in the production of speech, organs of articulation or articulators are involved either actively or passively. The articulators which are involved actively are known as active articulators, and those which are involved passively are termed as passive articulators. The table in this slide shows active and passive articulators. Active or flexible organs of speech because they can be moved into contact with other articulators. These include the lungs, the vocal folds, the tongue, the soft palate or velum, the uvula, the upper lip, the lower jaw, the lower teeth. And passive or stable organs of speech because they are stable or immobile in sound production, and their most important function is to act as the place of an articulatory stricture. And these include the upper teeth, the alveolar ridge, the hard palate, the pharynx, the larynx, and the vocal tract. Articulatory setting has been defined as the overall way in which the speech organs, that is, the lips, tongue, mouth, and throat muscles, velum, larynx, are held throughout the speech process. The settings vary not only between two different languages but also between different varieties of the same language. With this, we come to an end. I hope you have understood. Thank you very much.